Just the numbers that you shared, it looks like just with basic stuff, you could easily live there comfortably, even on 500 a month. Is that
Oh
accurate?
yeah,
Would you?
yeah, yeah.
Hi, I'm Ray from Adventure Freaks Podcast, and I wanted to thank you for viewing our content. I also wanted to announce that we have a new website called adventurefreaks.com. Please check it out. We have living abroad cheap reports that provide all the details you will need before you embark on that journey to live or retire overseas. If you enjoy this content, hit subscribe and like that. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, and it helps us immensely. Thank you again. All right. So today, Adventure Freaks is heading over to Siem Reap with my new friend, Deborah Saunders. Deborah, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. So let's start off by you live in this really unique place because like most people that move to Southeast Asia, they think about the Philippines, they think about Thailand, they think even Vietnam. Very few go to choose Cambodia. And you've been living there for how many years now?
I've been here for 17 years, going
So
into my 18th year.
that
Yeah.
is so awesome. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how you landed in Cambodia in Siem Reap.
Ooh. The short answer is that I turned 50. I think a lot of people that would resonate with a lot of people. It's a very significant time in life. You're sort of halfway between 0 and 100, and you start assessing your life. So I moved here. I at 50, I sort of analysed my situation in life and felt that I just needed to make some significant changes. So we had had years of experience in Bali for holidays because that's the playground for Australians. And just by chance, I had a family member who was living here at the time. We visited Cambodia, and there are a lot of elements of Bali and Indonesia here in Cambodia, and it was a developing country. It hadn't very long been out of war. There was a lot of opportunity, and I think I was born to live in the tropics. Originally from Melbourne, where the temperature is very inconsistent.
Mm.
That just didn't agree with me at all. I love the humidity. When everyone else is passing out with humidity, I'm just basking in it. So
Yeah, yeah.
the climate here suited me enormously. So that was sort of a no-brainer. And I came with my husband, and we established a hotel and worked that for 10 years together. And then that came to an end, and I continued here on my own for up until now, and I'm still deliriously happy.
That's great. What a great story. And 17 years you've been there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And
So
it hasn't all been smooth sailing, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, I can tell you.
yeah, well, that's great. So tell the
Yeah.
viewers a little bit about Siem Reap. What makes Siem Reap? Now, it's the second largest city in Cambodia, next to Phnom Penh, right?
Phnom Penh's the capital,
The
yes.
capital.
Yeah. And we're closer to the border of Thailand. We're about 500 kilometers from Phnom Penh, heading sort of north. Yeah, look, it's much smaller, it's much more contained. It has developed enormously over the time that I've been here. Uh, it has suffered enormously too, not only in its early history, but now that the war is over, there's an establishment of a tourist industry here, and I can't say it's booming. I think it's hit its peak and it's struggling at the moment. So
Hmm.
the more people that can come on over, the better.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the tourist industry has been knocked about, and especially with COVID, it's really just had such an impact. But it's a glorious place to be. It's like a very large country town, I suppose, that is developing at a very rapid rate. but not necessarily improving with the tourist industry, even though we do have the largest religious monument in the world, which is Angkor Wat
Yes.
at our back door. Yeah.
Angkor Wat is the largest. I was looking at some imagery of that, but it's the largest religious structure in the world. So that generates
Yes.
probably a lot of travelers to travel to that part of Cambodia just to go see the temple, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And the temple park is huge. It's absolutely massive. So it's not just Angkor Wat. There are hundreds of temples that you can explore. Once you have a temple pass, you have free reign to go wherever you want. So that's all very significant for tourism. As far as living here, it just ticks all the boxes in as much as it's very affordable. The climate's very, very stable. If you like heat and humidity, the people are incredibly friendly. They have a magnificent approach to life, even though they've had such a torrid past. They are just such delightful people, and it's a pleasure to live amongst them. They are, have a very strong religion, which is Buddhist, and they are just, they're just a delight to be with. They're very respectful.
Okay, cool. Well, let's jump into everybody that's considering retiring or moving to Cambodia. They need a visa. What can you tell us about like the retirement visa or the visas that they offer? And is there a payment requirement or a minimum income requirement that you're aware of?
For tourists, there's a tourist visa that allows you entry for 30 days, I think it is, and it's only about $35. So as a tourist, you can come in and just pop in at quite a reasonable sum of money. That's not a problem. There are a couple of variations to that, business visas and so forth. As a retiree, I didn't have to really show any proof of income or anything. That is suggested that you might have to do that, but I didn't. I wasn't
Okay.
asked for it. It was just assumed at my age, which is that stage, it was. I was working on a business visa, but now I'm on a retirement visa. So at 67, I get a retirement visa for 12 months, and it costs me just under $300.
Okay.
And that's a one-off payment. It's very easy to renew it. There are agents here. You just give up your passport for a couple of days. They take care of it, send it to Phnom Penh, and the process is really, really simple.
Okay, so every 12 months, every year, you got to pay an additional 300 to renew the
Yeah.
retirement visa. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Great. Okay, great. All right, so the folks that are thinking about moving there, they need a flat to live in. So what are the
Sure.
flats, the rentals going for in Siem Reap?
The rentals are really varied. When you say a flat, we'd call it an apartment, or houses are also very much available here.
Okay.
So, if you're wanting maybe a two-bedroom house, we'd say, with they're very big on bathrooms, so 2 or 3 bathrooms, kitchen facilities, and so forth. You're probably round about maybe the $300 a month.
Okay. And that's for
You can,
a two
yeah,
bedroom, 3 bath home?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
300 a month. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And apartments are similar.
Okay.
You can go up as much as, into the thousands if you wanted to. There's some very, very magnificent units and houses here as well. Don't underestimate the fact that there's a new generation of middle income Khmer people coming through since the war, and even since the time that I've been here. I'm seeing that there's a very strong wealthy Khmer middle class that's emerging, and they are taking advantage of properties, as are the Chinese, who are buying a lot of the property
Yeah, yeah.
and renting it out,
Now
which is
for like
unfortunate.
if somebody wants just a 1 bedroom apartment, a nice 1 bedroom, if 2 bedrooms, 3 baths are going for 300, what is a 1 bedroom going for in Siem Reap?
Oh, probably you could get something for $150 a
Okay.
month. It's not
Wow.
going to be great. Yeah, it's not going to be great, but they're available.
Okay. Do these rents, do they include utilities or is that separate?
Utilities are separate.
Okay.
Uh, water is very cheap. Electricity is very cheap. You might be up for maybe, let me see, electricity. I pay $12 a month for my electricity.
Wow, that is cheap. Do you run
Yeah.
air conditioning too?
No, I don't. I
Okay.
don't. Yeah.
Okay.
And that bumps things up
Yes.
considerably.
Okay.
But I have fans and I have windows, and I take advantage of those.
So if you break it down typically for you per month on utilities, if do you guys use gas out there or propane?
I do use gas. Yeah.
You do. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you think of that, water, electricity, and Wi-Fi too. People typically, what does Wi-Fi sell? All that go for
Uh,
per month?
yeah. Unlimited data, $10 a month.
Wow. And that's with your cell phone.
Yes.
Okay.
So I've got a phone and a tablet. I put $10 a month on each of those, and I've got unlimited use of them.
Okay.
Gas I use, but I use, having had 50, I don't know how many years, about 50 years in the food industry, it's interesting that I don't even have an oven at the moment. So I just use a small gas cooktop, which are they're very common here, and it just
Mhm.
has a gas cylinder in it. So I refill those for, I think it costs me 10 cents to refill them.
Wow.
And, and, the food is so cheap here that I don't spend a lot of money on food as such. And cooking, I just do batch cooking, make soups, make salads, and all those sorts of things, and live on that
Do you
for the
have a
week.
do you have a Wi-Fi, like an internet Wi-Fi connection, or do
I
you just
I do. I don't really know how I'm miraculously connected to the Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi is very good here. I find it's very, very stable. I don't have a router. I just have an automatic unlimited connection.
okay?
Just
It-
wafts through the air. I'm not
And
sure how.
how much is that per month, your Wi-Fi?
That's included in the $10 a month. That's all I
Wow.
pay. That's just a flat fee. Yeah.
For the cell and Wi-Fi is $10 a month, unlimited.
Phone and unlimited Wi-Fi.
Wow, you
Yes.
got a good
I know.
deal.
I know, I know. This country, Ray, ticks a lot of boxes. It truly does.
Wow.
I just can't explain. It ticks a lot of boxes for me because I love the tropics.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's there's other things. I mean, food is so inexpensive here as well, and especially if you can cook for yourself or take advantage of the cheap food stalls that are here. And the produce is fabulous. Service is great. It's typical Asia. You order something and you get a hot steaming bowl in front of you, and some chopsticks and a spoon, and off you go.
Mm.
It can be as cheap as $1 or so, or it can go up to, however much you want to spend, really.
So meals start at $1 at a restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They can even be less than that depending on where you go. The street food stalls are very, very cheap for the locals, and if you're prepared to access them, then that's really, really affordable. And then it just goes up from there. But
Okay.
you can live here very, very cheaply. The produce is excellent. Things that aren't grown here are coming from Thailand. Then there's in the supermarkets there's all the imported goods, and we have a supermarket here that rivals any other. It's it's a world-class supermarket. It's just got produce from everywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
How
Yep,
much do you
amazing.
budget per month for groceries, would you say, with the produce and all the groceries that you buy?
Wouldn't say I budget. I wouldn't sell. I wouldn't buy more than about maximum, say $200 a month.
Okay. 200 a month. Okay.
So it's
And
about
then,
$50 a week.
okay. And what is like a typical Cambodian dish? Like if you do go out to a restaurant and you want a nice Cambodian dish, what is it similar to like what is it closest to that we can is it Chinese or Chinese or Thai or
Uh, More Thai. I mean, Cambodia is bound by the borders of Thailand and Vietnam, so it's got influences from there as well. So
okay.
yeah, um, very very good wholesome food.
Hmm.
Noodles, predominantly rice, lots of veg, small quantities of meat
Mm-hmm.
because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really lovely cuisine. The spices are usually to the side, so you're not forced to eat the spices unless you can sort of mix the blend to whatever degree of spiciness you want, which is sensible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And how do you, I mean, this is always on an expat's mind who's or a person who's considering living as an expat is
Mm.
if I move to Cambodia, it's going to be difficult to learn the language. So, how is it to navigate around Siem Reap in Cambodia if you don't speak the language? Do Cambodians do they speak English?
They do.
They do.
They
Okay.
do. Yeah, it's just remarkable. As I say, that's another box that it ticks. Yes, they do. The younger ones most definitely are speaking English. It's very easy to navigate your way around. The Khmers are very forgiving as far as your language is concerned, and I just equipped myself with the phrases that I knew I was going to use,
Hmm.
and I can speak enough Khmer to get my way through most situations. There's a lot of hand actions and pointing and maybe even drawing a picture or two, but ultimately you can get what you want. There's translation facilities on iPhones and things, so you can always work with that. It's very easy, and the younger generation are coming through, so if you get a mum or dad situation that don't understand Khmer, they'll usually pull their children out to possibly translate for you, because a lot of the children are learning English in schools these days. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's amazingly easy to navigate your way through a conversation with them.
Okay. That's great. Okay. Let's talk about transportation. How do people get around Siem Reap? What is the mode of do they have a public transportation system, a metro? I know they have scooters
They do
and,
have scooters.
and
Yeah,
tuk
they do.
tuks.
Once upon a time, they just had bicycles. When I first came here, there was a throng of bicycles going into the town every morning. And it's now quite evident that those bicycles have been upgraded by motorbikes. Even the children, there might be 4 or 5 of them on a motorbike, but a family will have a motorbike as opposed to dealing with bicycles. So it's an indication that their economic situation has improved.
Hmm.
So you've got your basic bicycle to get around because the town's quite small. You can hire motos here if you want to. However, you have to ensure that you've got some sort of protection with your insurance policy, because if anything happens, you're in deep trouble if you
Hmm.
have an accident. And then you've got the tuk tuks, which are a fantastic system, and they run on a system where you can just log into an app, and then you give your location, and all of a sudden, in a few minutes, something picks you up and then drops you off.
So
The
share
the
with the
tuk
viewers
tuks.
share with the viewers what a tuk tuk is, and I'll also put a image in that they can see on this
Oh,
podcast.
lovely. Okay, so a tuk-tuk is a little three-wheeled vehicle. It drives a little bit like a motorbike. It takes the driver centered in the vehicle, and then it can take as many as 2 or sometimes 4 passengers. The original tuk-tuks were a carriage on the back of a motorbike, and they were absolutely delightful, but they've been upgraded since. There's not so many of them here. There's still a lot, but the new system with a pass app system, which is the app that you log into, that allows you to book either the rickshaw version, or you can just book the new, more modern day, or you can just get a motorbike as well to come and pick you up with this pass app system. It's very, very cheap. It indicates the price on booking, so you know exactly what you're up for, and there's no bargaining or issues with payment at the end, because it's registered as how much you are to pay. It's
Yeah.
always nice to give a little bit more because the drivers do it really tough. They don't get much out of a fare.
What is
So
what is
it's
the
nice to,
cost? What is a typical cost for a tuk-tuk ride into the city, around the city?
oh, maybe $2,
Okay.
$2 or $3. Not much at all. Yeah, it's very, very cheap. Town's quite small. Once you start venturing out of town, yeah, you can pay up to $30 a day or something if you wanted to. But
Hmm.
just around town, very cheap. Walking's really good too. It's very easy to navigate the streets, and with Google Maps these days, you just can't go wrong.
So is Siem Reap a pretty walkable city, would you say?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it's totally flat.
Okay.
We have no hills or inclines, nothing. So that's another box to tick.
Do they have
And we have
public buses, or ride share like Uber or Lyft or any of that out there?
no, nothing that you share. No, nothing that you share. There's no public buses that move around the town. They
Okay.
do go from Siem Reap to Thailand and to Phnom Penh, the bigger tourist buses.
Okay.
And they're very cheap as well. It might only cost you maybe, or ticket to maybe between $8 and $15, depending on where you're going, to get to Phnom Penh, the
Okay.
quality of the bus.
All right. And how far is Siem Reap from the ocean if you want to go to the beach?
It's a long way.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a long way, unfortunately. So that's one thing that Siem Reap um, doesn't have, is a beach.
Okay.
It has the lake, but the lake is not really swimmable. So
Mm.
you're wanting to get to the coast, you're probably up for a good or 8 or 10 hour journey, depending on a stopover in Phnom Penh or not.
I see.
But the beaches are beautiful. They're the equivalent of the beaches in Thailand and Vietnam.
Now,
Quite lovely.
is it easy for you if you want to go to a beach in Thailand to just cross over the border, or go to Vietnam and
Yeah,
cross over the border and hit the beach that way?
absolutely,
It is.
absolutely.
Okay.
Again, yeah, absolutely. It's just a bus journey in a day. You could make it in a day quite comfortably, but it's a
Okay.
big day, maybe a 12-hour journey, but
Yeah.
you can get there, and it's not expensive.
Hmm.
I think to get to Thailand, you're probably up for maybe, I don't know, $30 to $50 for a bus ticket.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's very reasonable. Okay, so
And
let's.
this,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, this is all dealing in US dollars.
Mm.
However, for people that are coming here, they have to realize that they're actually working the US dollar out of the system here. So it's not very attractive to the Khmers anymore. Your US dollars have to be in absolutely pristine condition, otherwise, they won't accept them. And you're probably better off changing them into real when you get here and
Mm.
working in the Khmer real system.
Okay. Good tip there. Thank you. Um, so as far as like an expat community where people can get acclimated to Reap, is there an expat community that speaks English that any newbie could kind of, acclimate and so that they don't feel isolated or alone because they don't speak the
Sure.
language well.
Yeah.
There is, okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, with the internet, you can either communicate just online, or we've got any amount of groups ranging from motorcycle groups to sporting groups to stitch and bitch groups to reading clubs. Just about anything you could find in the Western world exists here. There's
Mhm.
not much that we don't go without, really. It's
So
so pleasurable.
the expat community is quite large there, would you say?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yes, it's 10 times larger than when I first came. There
Where
was about yeah,
where
sorry,
where are they coming from? Where do you
all
see
over,
all over?
absolutely everywhere, and even more so now because the cost of living in or cost of retirement in other countries is becoming so expensive. The demands for payments of deposits for very, very large sums of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, in either Thailand or Malaysia, is
Mhm.
forcing people out of those countries now. And Cambodia is looking really attractive because it's flat, because it's affordable.
Mm.
The climate's perfect. You don't need a big wardrobe. You don't need a vehicle. It's just insanely good.
Well, the just the numbers that you shared, it looks like just with basic stuff, you could easily live there comfortably, even on 500 a month. Is that
Oh
accurate?
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, if you can get a
Yes,
place to live for 150, you spend 200 for groceries. As a single person, that's pretty good. And then you could
yeah.
probably go to eat out to eat a little bit. It doesn't cost much for utilities at all. Utilities are really nothing.
No,
I mean,
no, they're not.
it's incredible what I'm hearing. So, I mean, if you broke it down and you say for the viewers, if you really wanted to live comfortably, where you could go eat out at these restaurants and go get some really good Cambodian food nightly and rent a nice place, how much do you think you'd need to live quite well there? I mean,
I'd probably pitch it between about 800 even to $1,000 if you really wanted to live really gloriously. You'd be really living it up on a
that is
thousand
like
dollars. Yeah, a
so
thousand
eight
dollars.
hundred to $1,000 to live large in Siem Reap or
Yeah,
Cambodia.
I mean,
Wow.
the other pleasurable thing, I suppose I should mention is, I hate to say it, but alcohol is very cheap here too. So
Oh,
there are 50-cent beers. There are people offering 50-cent beers because they're quite desperate for business. So a fifty
sure.
cent beer. Um, there's no tax on alcohol here, and so wines are reasonably comparable to what you'd pay in the West, but certainly spirits are incredibly cheap. So
Hmm.
I could say a bottle of, let's say, if you enjoy a gin and tonic, a bottle of gin will cost you $8 US.
Wow.
And drinks in bars and so forth are very cheap. There's some wonderful restaurants and upmarket restaurants here that you can enjoy. You pay a little bit more for alcohol in those, but if you're happy to entertain yourself at home, that's really good too. Obviously, if you don't drink alcohol, there's any amount of fruit juices and shakes and so forth available as well, which are fresh and beautiful and
Mhm.
healthy. So you
Yeah.
can really adopt a healthy lifestyle here with the glorious fruit and vegetables available in the market, the herbs, the handmade noodles, the spices. It's really good. It's really good if you're a cook.
I'm getting so hungry.
Yeah, we should have smell-o-vision.
That's coming with the new AI. Eventually, that'll
Is it?
probably be here. It'll
Oh my
probably be
lord.
here one day. Who knows? So, Deborah, what can you tell us about healthcare? Everybody's always interested in healthcare. Is it
Yeah,
cost effective there? Because healthcare here in the U.S. is just out of control, and a lot
yeah.
of people are leaving the U.S. because of healthcare. There's
Mm,
many other
mm,
reasons too, but healthcare is a big issue here, and many people
yeah.
leave the country for healthcare.
Yeah, there's no avoiding it really. The biggest issue here is that people don't insure themselves.
Mhm.
They, get run over on the road or fall off their motorbikes, and then they haven't got insurance, and then their friends have to rally and set up a GoFundMe page, which I think is really irresponsible, especially for the people who have outlaid the money for their own insurance. To have to start funding somebody else's is not really fair. So I do pay a lot of money for insurance, and I have a worldwide cover that costs me um, between $2,000 to $2,500 a year.
Okay.
So that's doable, and that's really important. The thing that you do have to remember is that after a certain age, you cannot enter the medical system. Because they won't accept you. I fortunately got in very early. I've had it ever since I was here, and I'll have it as long as I keep up the payments. I'll have it for the rest of my life. But
Mhm.
after about 60, it might even be earlier than that. They won't insure you. They won't accept you because you've got no history. Um,
Okay.
I came with a history of payments. I've jumped around in the system and found a good solid policy that comes out of Cambodia, which suits me. And the sensible people here have insurance. The people who don't have insurance are in heaps of trouble.
Well,
And the
you're paying for a private health insurance. Is that a private health insurance company out of Cambodia?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I'm covered. Well, I'm covered also if I travel from here to even my own country, Australia. I'm covered. I'm covered everywhere in the world except for the USA. Sorry, hate to tell you that. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's the biggest expense that I have. That really bumps things up a bit, and also the airfares for me to get back to see my family are very expensive too. So I have to kind of factor that in. That's gone up considerably since COVID. It's
Yeah.
doubled in price. So that's unfortunate. But the rest of it is damn near perfect.
Mhm.
Just perfect.
Yeah. Now, if you had to describe the healthcare system there, is it do they have a quality healthcare system? Do people pay out of pocket, and is it affordable if you pay out of pocket?
Yeah, yeah. The healthcare cover that I have will get me to, if I can't get significant or the correct healthcare in Cambodia, I can be relocated to Bangkok, where there's very very sophisticated healthcare, Bangkok or Singapore. Um,
Okay.
but as time goes by, the healthcare system here has improved out of sight. Dental care is incredibly good and incredibly cheap. A lot of the dentists have studied either in Germany, Switzerland, they've been trained overseas, and they have really sophisticated equipment here. Any dental work, crowns and root canals and things like that are very, very cheap, and
Mhm.
the expertise it's just amazing. The
How much
service is
how much do they charge for a crown over there?
oh gee, I haven't had one for a while. It probably maybe $80 US.
80.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I know, and
Wow.
it's quite sophisticated. Also, the clinics and hospitals are improving out of sight as well. I've had friends that have had treatment done on their eyesight for, what do you call those things you get on your eyes? I can't remember, but
Cataract?
cataracts. Yeah,
Cataracts, yeah.
cataract surgery they've had. Um yeah, broken bones and things like that all can be fixed. Um, and we have sort of local doctors dealing with small complaints, which are very good, that maybe focus just on the local expat community, and they can speak very good English. So we've got that level. And then we've got the hospital system, and a lot of the doctors and so forth speak English, or enough English to be able to get by. We've got dermatologists, we've got ear doctors, we've got or just about anything at a third of the price of what you'd pay in the Western world.
Well, Deborah Saunders, thank you so much for taking the time to do the podcast. This has been awesome.
My pleasure. Lovely to speak with you too. I hope we can see you here sometime. There's a spare bed in my house anytime you're over. So keep in touch.
Well, yeah, definitely I will for sure, because it is a place that's on my radar that I'd love to come visit for a few weeks just to explore it. I love Southeast Asia. I've never been to Cambodia, so it'd be really awesome to visit.
It's a must. It's an absolute must. It really is. It's got so much to offer. I'm sitting here at the moment looking out at the rice fields, a herd of water buffalo, and I'm surrounded by, the sounds of nature. It's absolutely glorious.
I could see it in your eyes and that smile. It's like, it's so awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, cool. Well,
Thanks.
you have a great rest of the day. I know it's your morning. It's getting close to my bedtime here. So,
you can go off to bed now.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon. You take care.
Terrific. Thanks so much. Very nice to speak with you. Bye for now.